National Cherry Blossom Festival returned in D.C. over the weekend. Capitol Hill is back open, sort of. Students working to get their GED at Warwick Community College received free computers today. Plenty of brackets busted in the NCAA basketball tournament. Back to Pennsylvania now, where deer have been leaping to their deaths in Johnsonsburg. A gray day turned rainy and dreary. A live look into Salisbury tonight is still dreary. Salisbury. A 7-year-old child's in critical condition tonight after being shot in the head by a teen in Cambridge yesterday. Police say they were called to Clinton Street around 5 o'clock in the afternoon for a child who'd been shot.
Delmarva's news leader.
And good evening, I'm Todd Carley.
And I'm Chris Weimer. Thank you for joining us. Stop sign cameras are coming to school buses in Somerset County. It's all an effort to crack down on drivers passing buses. Ukraine is fighting back, bogging down Putin's ground forces and pushing them away from Kyiv. Dredging has begun to free the cargo ship that's been stranded in the Chesapeake Bay for more than a week.
In the 1980s. Chris?
Hi, Todd. Thank you. Nice spring day out there today. Live look at Salisbury, our Spicer Brothers camera.
Tonight on WBOC News at 10 on Fox 21.
Nomination hearings continue for Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court. Plus the latest on the war in Ukraine as the Ukrainian military takes a more aggressive stance.
Clouds will lower and rain is on the way for tomorrow night and into Thursday. We'll talk about that and the weekend weather. It's looking a little bit.
Covering all of Delmarva, this is WBOC News at 10 on Fox 21.
A second day of confirmation hearings for Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. Good evening. The Supreme Court nominee answered questions from members of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Caroline Shively's in Washington with a closer look at some of the key moments.
For several hours in Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Back locally, a body found appears to be the boater who went missing back in January in Chincoteague. Virginia Marine Police say the body was discovered in the Chincoteague Channel on the bay side yesterday. They say it is likely that of 17-year-old Nathan Jenkins. Jenkins, one of 4 people involved in a boating accident back in January. A John boat carrying 4 young duck hunters capsized in the Chincoteague Channel. 2 of the hunters were rescued. A 19-year-old man died. The remaining hunter was missing until yesterday, as authorities do believe they have found Nathan Jenkins.
I can't imagine having a father that lost a son. I'll pray for them. And
positive identification currently pending, findings from the Virginia State Medical Examiner. The Ukrainian government says its forces retook a strategically important suburb of Kyiv and are making progress in other surrounding suburbs. This comes as the Russian bombardment of the southern port city of Mariupol rages on. Fox senior foreign affairs correspondent Greg Ponkot in Lviv with the latest. Warning, this report contains images you may find disturbing.
In Lviv, Ukraine, Greg Ponkot, Fox News.
A Salisbury restaurant spent the day raising money to help Ukraine. At Market Street, customers were able to order homemade Ukrainian foods and drinks. The proceeds will help to go to a group in a city called Dnipro. The group is helping other people by providing them with food, even making bulletproof vests. People were also able to purchase a set of blue and yellow candles to show their support. Paul Davis Restoration announcing they're accepting donations as well. They're in need of items such as medications, backpacks, clothing pieces, much more. If you'd like to send any donations for Ukraine, you can drop off items at their Salisbury location on Marvel Road. This is what remains of a car involved in a tragic accident in Oklahoma. Take a look. 6 high school-age girls killed when the compact car they were traveling in collided with a semi-truck Tuesday. In a statement posted on Facebook, Tishomingo High School announced that the fatal crash involved some of its students. Schools will be in session Wednesday, but the focus will be on grief, counseling, and the emotional well-being of the student body. Tornado watches and warnings in effect in parts of the Deep South as a dangerous severe weather system pummels the region. It comes as cleanup efforts are underway in parts of Oklahoma and Texas after tornadoes tore through both states Monday, causing significant damage to schools, homes, and businesses. A 73-year-old woman in Sherwood Shores, Texas, was killed. Tonight, folks in the Deep South are on high alert as the same system treks east to Louisiana, Alabama, and Mississippi. These storms capable of producing large hail, damaging winds, the threat of tornadoes. The National Weather Service issued dozens of tornado watches and is asking residents to listen to any warnings issued by local officials. This coming in just moments ago, a tornado touched down. This is New Orleans. The tornado appeared to start in a New Orleans suburb, then move east across the Mississippi River into the lower 9th Ward of New Orleans and part of St. Bernard Parish before moving northeast. It wasn't immediately known whether anyone was injured. Meanwhile, here we've had a pretty decent spring day. Things are about to change, though, on Delmarva as well. A live look at Rehoboth Beach, our Boardwalk Plaza hotel camera. We've got rain in the forecast for tomorrow. And Dan's in the Weather Center with more on that. Hey, Dan.
Hey, Chris. Yeah, and by the way, that green flash you saw in the 50s again. We'll talk more in a bit.
Dan, thank you. New COVID-19 infections are plummeting after hitting record levels in January, but some health experts predict another rise in cases from the Omicron subvariant BA2. It makes up 35% now of COVID infections in the U.S. That's up about 10% in the last 2 weeks. The CDC and World Health Organization now labeling it a variant of concern. BA2's led to a resurgence of coronavirus in parts of Asia and Europe. As BA2 spreads, officials here in the U.S. are cautiously lifting COVID restrictions. New York City Mayor Eric Adams announcing kids aged 2 through 4 will no longer have to wear masks in school if infection rates remain low. The change is set to take effect on April 4th.
We have to do this right.
The WHO says people infected with the original Omicron variant appear to have strong protection against BA2. We got more news, sports, and weather still ahead. We've got a pancake mix recall to tell you about, plus high gas prices pushing drivers to go electric. Why the switch is not so easy, though, right now.
Chris Weimer joins us tonight in the Newsplex. And Chris, the damage is done, but there is hope this new project will help to close a horrific chapter.
Yes, Steve, plans are in motion for a new commercial building to be built at the Coastal Highway location. And while it may close that chapter for some, it certainly won't erase what was done. It's been roughly 10 years since Earl Bradley's baby's pediatrics office in Lewis was demolished, a building believed to be where children found care, instead filled with horrors. In 2011, Bradley was sentenced to more than 150 years in prison for sexually assaulting children who were under his care. Gavin Martin moved to Lewis around the time Bradley was sentenced.
It's a sorrowful time when you think about all that happened.
And while Martin understands the pain that was caused here, he's ready to see a new start. This is a rendering of what will soon be built at 18259 Coastal Highway. It's not clear exactly what the commercial building will house. We found the listing on multiple sites which describe the new building as a prime location for retail, medical, dental, or office space.
We got to move on. I know there's people hurting and stuff like that, but I think, along with prayer, we can get by. Everybody can get by with this.
An empty lot filled with traumatic memories, soon hoping to start fresh. According to the listing, the new building will be available for lease in June of 2022.
All right, Chris Weimer, thanks for that.
Nearly 60 years ago, in March of 1962, the storm that stalled. For 3 days, a nor'easter pounded Delmarva's coast, unforgiving and unrelenting. The waves of water swallowed beaches, boardwalks, and streets.
They talk about California having the big one, big earthquake. This, in terms of storms, this was the big one.
Michael Morgan is the author of Deadly Storms of the Delmarva Coast. His book details the Ash Wednesday storm, a storm that wasn't a hurricane but was in many ways much worse.
They come and go, they're devastating winds, but then they last maybe 10, 12 hours and they're gone. This storm lasted over 3 days.
The toll it took on Delaware's coast documented extensively and preserved at the Delaware Public Archives in Dover.
We have the beginning of the storm that is noted here in Fenwick Island and the damage that is occurred by the waves that have broken over.
Edward McWilliams is the Information Resources Manager at the archives. McWilliams showed us the detailed records on hand.
Route 14, which is currently today's present day Route 1.
Primary source documents from then-Governor Elbert Carville, including letters, a proclamation establishing Delaware as a disaster area, and a telegram to President Kennedy asking for federal assistance.
Elbert has outlined in his papers the costs. She's estimating about $50 million.
The need for help seen in places like Rehoboth Beach.
And you can see the devastation to the boardwalk first, and then the buildings that are lining the boardwalk.
The Delaware Public Archives also have extensive resources available online, including footage of a flyby of the devastation. Places like the Atlantic Sands Motel in Rehoboth Beach captured here and documented in newspapers that are archived as well. According to Morgan, about 10 people in Delaware died.
Because it was a slow-moving storm, slow-developing storm, people got out of the way.
Today, the Ash Wednesday storm serves as a permanent reminder of Mother Nature's power.
When you hear storms coming, when the authorities say, hey, it's time to get out, get out.
Chris Weimer, WBOC News, Delmarva's news leader.
The OC Air Show is in full swing this weekend. The first day of performances wrapped up around 4 o'clock, and there's more coming tomorrow. But our own Chris Weimer got a performance of his own, and he brought along a special guest.
When I was a young boy, my dad and I shared a love of sports, a good thrill, and of course, Top Gun. He loved planes and took me to air shows. He was my maverick, but he also loved a stiff drink. He died when I was 14. Sometimes a story is just a story. Sometimes it's more.
This aircraft is fueled over 9,000 pounds of fuel. It is your tank of gas, so please do enjoy yourself.
When I got the invitation to fly with the Navy Blue Angels, I saw my shot and I took it. I was briefed, signed a waiver, and learned the hick maneuver. An odd but incredibly effective way to handle G's without passing out. Then I geared up, ready to fly, with a special guest that would join.
How you doing, sir?
My leader was Lieutenant Brandon Hempler, an extremely talented pilot with nearly 2,200 flight hours. And so it began.
Gear and flaps are coming up. We're flying, obviously. Eddie, hit it. All right, take a look out the side. Woo! Relax. Isn't that awesome? Beautiful.
Lieutenant Hempler took me through a series of maneuvers, some high G's.
We're going to go up to 7.5 G's for about 180 degrees of turn.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, Chris, squeeze those legs. Ready, hit it. How you doing? Keep working hard. How you doing?
I'm good.
7.4 G's.
Others that spun my world around.
Let's roll on our back. Take a look at our smoke.
Lieutenant Kempler couldn't have been more casual about it either, but I was in a battle with my stomach as our world got turned upside down. The final maneuver, a fast 360-degree revolution called an aileron roll.
There, that was it. It's over.
It finished me. All in all, totally worth it. And the sweetest part, I wasn't alone. Sometimes a story's just a story.
Yeah, I got a good one.
Oh, that's a good one.
Ready?
Sometimes it's more. Thanks for being my wingman today, Dad. Oh, and happy Father's Day. Chris Weimer, WBOC News.